Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another figure unboxing video, and in honor of the release of LR Zamasu, I figured we would take a look at a sort of related figure. Unfortunately, there aren't any prize figures of just the Green Man himself, at least to my knowledge, or the merged version, but we of course have the GxMateria the Goku Black. Obviously, if you are familiar with the GxMateria line, this line is pretty infamous in a good way for being a line that has different effects on the figure, essentially. And as you can see, the sort of effect piece on your boy Rose here is the scythe, which is really, really cool. So we are going to take a proper look at him. Here is the top of the box with the sticker of authenticity. And I am actually really excited about this guy, not just because I've had him in storage forever, and I've been wanting to crack into my man for a really long time, but this figure and everything in the GxMateria line has been sculpted by the boy Varquo Varroque. Still don't know how to say his name. I don't think I ever will, even though he follows me on Twitter. I appreciate it, my guy. But he's a fantastic sculptor, and so any figure from him, I am like, let's go, baby. As well, too, there is actually a little bit of an older Goku Black figure with a scythe that we are going to compare this guy with today, and see which one we end up liking better. I have a little bit of a feeling that it's going to be this one, but let's go ahead and take a look. Holy cow, we have a lot of pieces here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at all this. Sorry, my camera just decided to cut out midway through. With the GxMateria line, usually you have to put the pieces together, as in build it, but it seems that instead of doing that for this one, they just opted to, I guess we'll just pierce the bag with this. They opted to just attach his hand to the actual scythe. Excuse me for punching the mic there. Very interesting way of doing things here. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, but it's definitely not the worst way to do that for sure. Let's go ahead and get the scythe out. By the way, I love what they did with the scythe, because with the key scythe in the anime, I don't think it's really like has these edges like this, right? But I really like that they made it ridged to make it not only feel a lot more menacing, but it's almost like a more realistic take on what this would look like, I suppose. My camera does not want to focus on it. There we go. I really like the clear resin that they decided to use for this. It looks fantastic as well with the sparkles on the inside. Obviously, the GxMateria line is sort of known for having these sparkles on the different effects. So it's cool that they keep with the theme here. Let's go ahead and get Goku Black out. I don't really see the little hole in the bag, so I guess I'm just going to take some lessons from Doomslayer and rip and tear here. And pull out the legs. Almost said the torso. I mean, I guess that's true. We're going to pull out Goku Black next. I really like his expression, by the way. I can see it through the bag. We'll take a look at him once we actually assemble him. That is really weird, though, that he doesn't have a hand there. That's kind of funny. And then let's go ahead and get out the base. And then finally the stand. Now, unfortunately, this is a little bit of a stinky base because it is just the plain black base. It would be really cool for these GxMateria figures if they started to do something else, but I mean, I guess I can't ask for too much since we're already getting effect pieces. Let's go ahead and put him together now. The first thing that I noticed about this actually is that the bottom half of the top half is actually rounded, right? So the reason why that is when you push it in to the bottom half of the figure, it will look like that the fabric is sort of coming out from the bottom of the belt. Let me push them together really hard there. There we go. You can't even really tell that this was two pieces just a moment ago, right? This looks like that the top half of his gi is coming out of his belt, which is very, very nice looking. Before we put the scythe on there, let's take another look at the body. I will say I do really like the hue that they use for the gray. It has a little small tint, like it has that sort of rosé aura about it, which is a very nice inclusion. Obviously, the facial expression for your boy is not being focused on, but I do quite like it. It definitely captures Rosé's sort of menacing look quite well. Unfortunately, Bandai has been doing this with a lot of their figures lately. They've been giving him the chocolate lips look, where it sort of just looks like he ate a bunch of chocolate and making his mouth a little bit too black there. Rather unfortunate. I don't know why they decided to do that, but ever since Bandai took over Banpresto, they have been doing that quite frequently on their figures. So kind of unfortunate on that one, but the rest of the sculpt looks fantastic. I really like the Rose hair sculpt here. I think it looks very nice as well. I like that they included that little bang there, right? Or that little extra hair piece that Rose has. Very, very cool. I think that the overall sculpt of this guy looks very, very nice. I love the actual, like, Goku Black Gi. I think that his legs as well look really cool. The boots also look very, very nice for sure. I don't know why the camera is having such a hard time focusing. I'm sorry about that. The earring as well also looks really, really nice. Obviously, the Potara earring that he wears. I think that they did a very good job capturing that pretty well, because sometimes they can turn out a little bit weird looking, but I think that looks pretty decent. Alright, so let's go ahead. I suppose that we should probably put the scythe together before we actually, before we actually decide to put it on him. So it seems like it should just go together like this. I don't know if there is a specific way that this goes in. I'm trying to like feel for it. Yeah, it looks like that there might be because of the hole. Let me see if I can see. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera because it's really hard to tell, but there you go. You can kind of see it in the top half of the scythe there. There is a little bit of like a flat side to it. So with that, right, you can tell that there is not just like a circle for this to go in. There is a perfect line there. Well, maybe it's not actually perfect, but there is a way that it's supposed to go in specifically so that it fits in correctly, and then obviously it would be facing the same way that's supposed to, like on the box for Rose's hand. It's really hard to get in there though. Definitely be careful with this little coupling, because obviously this is held together by that super tiny peg that we just took a look at, so be careful with that. As well, I know something that you probably noticed already is that this does not look very good in terms of how this is bent, right? It is definitely not a straight line. I know even on Varco's Twitter, he made a tweet talking about how you might need to just take a hairdryer to this and bend it a little bit to sort of get it into the position that you want. That's the unfortunate thing about plastics like this, is that they don't stay perfectly straight, and with Bandai's quality control, are you surprised? Alright, so let's go ahead and put this in here. Oh, interesting. So the hand isn't actually like attached. As you can see, it does rotate around. I'm sure that you could probably pull that off of there if you really wanted to. However, you can also see that the hand does have a bit of a shape on the ridge, and that Rose himself also has, I don't know if it's gonna, yeah, you can kind of see that in there. It has a specific shape that it's supposed to go in. So let's just go ahead and slide that on like that, and that should be good. Let me see, where do we want him to hold the scythe? Probably more like right here. On the box it is here. Let's take a look. So if we position him like this, it seems like that on the box the scythe is up. Oh, you know what I didn't even notice? I'm a dingus. You're supposed to put the top half through there, because that's a hole on his hand. I did not even notice that the first time that I saw that. Okay, well, let's fix that then. I see. So the whole point of having this bit be a little bit loose is that you can put that through right there and then stick it through the other side. Oops, I made Rose lose his hand. Just make sure that you are keeping everything fitted together properly here. And there, that looks a lot better. And I think that'll keep it a little bit more straight, even though that does look a little bit crooked, but definitely not the worst. All right, let me put this back on. Okay, sorry about that. It's really hard to get that on camera. But here we go. We have him with the scythe in hand, and wow, that looks really cool with him holding it. It definitely looks a lot less weird with the bended plastic like that, right? I think that the way that he holds it and his support of the entire scythe definitely makes it a little bit better. That is super sick looking. Holy cow. That's basically the angle right there on the box. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and put him on the stand now. This is a simple one. You literally just take the plastic pillar and bam, slam that in there. And then on the back of Rose, as you can see right there, there is a little hole that you will just stick this on. Interesting angle as well, as he's sort of like going upward. Is this in there properly? That doesn't really feel like it's in there all the way. Yeah, okay. You definitely got to jam that a little bit for sure. You definitely got to push it. Yeah, okay. And then we can also push Rosé back down because I also kind of pushed him up a little bit. And don't worry, I'll move the camera because obviously, look how tall this bad boy is. Holy cow. All right, there we go. That's definitely a little bit of a better angle for the boy. Obviously, in the way that the stand has the character placed, he is sort of looking upward, right? Or maybe looking up about to slash down. But regardless, though, the angle that he's looking at the viewer is certainly up and around like this, right? Very cool figure, though. I did not expect him to be so tall, but definitely a welcome surprise, to be sure. I really like the final look of this guy for sure. This is something that I think most people who like Super Saiyan Rosé would want in a figure. A really great expression, very nicely sculpted, and of course, a cameo from the Scythe. Definitely very nice. Let's go ahead and get into our size comparisons. This maybe isn't as good of an angle for Rosé specifically. However, I think that this angle will give you a little bit of a better idea of the size of Rosé. As you can see here, wow! My man really towers over Gotenks there, like a lot. I know Gotenks is obviously not the tallest figure, but I did not expect him to be that big. Even in body, you know, compared to Gotenks, he's definitely a lot more bulky. Let's see, in terms of our size here, he looks to be about, I would say, just under 10 inches. And on the camera, it looks like he's just about 10 inches or under there too. So that's right about accurate. It's literally the notch right below the 10 is where it looks like to me that he is size-wise. So basically just about 10 inches there. Definitely a pretty decent size for this figure, right? He's definitely going to have quite a bit of shelf presence. Alright, so let's move on to our size comparisons here. We're going to do a couple here. First of all, just for the meme, because apparently Bandai and Toei thinks that these guys fought with all the marketing that they did. Here's Blue Vegito and Rosé. I don't know why they're always marketed together, considering they did not actually fight, because Rosé is inside Zamasu, and Vegito only appears when Merge Zamasu is on the screen. But there you go. There's a cool little comparison for you from the Goku Black Saga. Another thing that I wanted to show off today was just a little bit of a comparison from the last couple of GxMateria figures that we've taken a look at. We have the GxMateria Yamcha as well as the GxMateria Frieza here. Now, what is interesting to see about these guys is that, of course, Rosé is sort of in more of the category of what they've been doing more recently with the GxMateria figures, where instead of giving them more traditional Ki Blast effect pieces like we saw on the GxMateria Goku and of course on this Frieza, right, they're doing more kind of unique stuff, like a little bit more out there stuff. Like obviously for Yamcha we have the Wolf Fang Fist, and then of course for Rosé we have the Scythe. So it's cool to see him sort of following the, I don't want to say more modern formula of GxMateria because it sounds like the line is really old and it's not that old, but definitely a little bit more in line with what they've been doing recently with the line. Now, I did mention that we have one more Rosé Scythe figure to compare this guy. Excuse me if this guy is a little dusty. He has been basically behind my desk for a couple of years now, and I know that the angle is terrible for him because he is a figure who sort of looks down at the ground where Rosé looks up. But we have the WCF Rosé with the Scythe in tow. Now, obviously, the big thing you're going to notice about these is the size. Of course, the GxMateria Rosé is so much bigger than the WCF one. There is no question about that. However, I much prefer the design of the Scythe on the GxMateria one to the Banpresto World Figure Coliseum one, even though I think that the small guy has a little bit more accuracy in terms of the color of the Scythe, because I don't think it was exactly like that deep of a purple, but it also wasn't like hot pink either. I do think that the overall sculpt and design of the GxMateria Scythe is just better in every way. Like, the one that's on the Bam Presto World Figure Coliseum one doesn't look bad, and it's so cool seeing him hold this giant scythe for such a tiny figure. But at the same time, it feels kind of like just a cheap accessory. It almost feels like a model kit accessory that is yet to be painted, right? So I think the GxMateria one certainly wins out here. Both are really great figures, but I honestly am a huge fan of this bad boy here. And it is cool because of the way that this works. You can actually technically exchange the scythes. It's a little bit janky in the way that it works because obviously Rose's hand is in there. But I suppose you could try it if you're willing to take the scythe out of Rose's hand. But that might be a little bit hard to do. Because obviously you have the notches there preventing that from happening. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I apologize for all the technical difficulties. I don't know what was happening. My camera was just not having it today. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. As well, if you'd like to support my figure collecting shenanigans, you can do so over on Patreon. That is exclusively for my figure unboxing content. So if you are supporting me over there, you're directly supporting this channel. But of course, you watching the videos is what's most important to me. I will, of course, leave a link in the description where you can pick this guy up. Again, since this is just a normal prize figure, this guy should be around the range of 20 to 25 bucks. That is definitely the price that you want to be paying for this figure. I could see somebody paying more, and honestly, if I wasn't as in the know, I would think this is lot more of a quote-unquote premium figure than it actually is. But that is the price for him, which is crazy to show how sometimes these prices on Bandai stuff is just so all over the place, because this figure is a lot more quality than some figures that you could pay a lot more. But let me know what you thought of this guy in the comments section below. I would really, really appreciate it. I definitely think that if you are a fan of Rose, this is a must cop. Absolutely. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Dokkan Assets out. Peace. Subarashii!